Because here's the problem. There are so many people that want to achieve so much in their life, their business, their career, but they can't get things done. So I want to do a quick book review on something that has profoundly shifted the way I've thought about productivity, even though I've been a productivity nerd for many years. And it's called Essentialism. And the author's name is Greg McKeown. This has had a big shift in the way I think. Now, you don't have to go out and, rush out and buy the book or anything like that. I am going to go through the highlights of that book right about now for you. So the first major important thing, what is essentialism? To define the actual book, he talks about essentialism as in only the critical things in order to achieve a goal. Because there are 50 million ways to achieve a goal, and you write down all these different ideas and tasks and things you have, but not all of them are the fastest way to achieve that goal, which is critically important to have that as a distinction. Essentialism is also this. If you can remove something that you're doing and still achieve your goal, then by its very nature, it is not essential. So if you think about and where this applies, this could be for doing a presentation. So you might think the night before a presentation, I've got all these 50 things I'm going to do. I've got to update the slides and change the font and then the sound. But is all of those things that you have to do 100% critical to achieving the goal? Not all of them are. So the definition, or as he puts in part 1 of the book, the essence of essentialism is that is critical to achieve the goal. So think of a goal that you want to achieve right now. It could be a presentation in public speaking. It could be something bigger, like marketing your business, but you're overwhelmed with all the different, options. It could be your business as a whole. I want to have these 3 products or these 3 programs. It could be your entire life. What is the goal of your entire life's purpose? And is what you're doing in your life essential to that goal? Because the first part of the book is all about, if I read it here, the first part of the book is all about the essence of essentialism. And then part 2 is exploring what are all the different things that you could do. Now, I'm not going to do a summary of the entire book, but just pick out the highlights that I feel really move the needle forward for people. Here's the thing. There are millions and millions of things you could possibly do. You can explore all these different ideas, do a podcast, write a book, get a promotion, weight loss. I want to learn how to play 5 different musical instruments, but we can't possibly do all of them. An essentialist thinks that only 1 or 2 things are essential. A non-essentialist thinks everything is essential. They think everything is important. So now they're very, very stressed, running around like a chicken with their head chopped off, thinking, I've got to do all of these things, because there are a few key fallacies of what they believe. First off, the first thing they believe is that I must do it all. They carry this burden or this pressure to do everything on their to-do lists. So a wake-up call, and obviously something to relieve the pressure. Everyone should just take a nice deep breath in and let it go. Let your task list go, that you don't have to do it all. Like if you've got a list of 50 things or 100 things from a course that you're doing or from life in general, no one's doing it all. There's not a person on this planet that is doing it all. Because fallacy number 2 is it is impossible to do it all. You cannot do it all. So if you can't do it all, that's not the goal. The goal is not to do everything. If you feel that the goal is to do everything, you'll always be striving, never arriving, always trying to reach this unattainable thing of perfectly doing everything. Now, the best way to explain something to someone is to give them a reference of something they already understand. So let me use an analogy. If I'm going for a holiday and I've got 3 days to spend in the city of Paris, I've got 3 days. I can't do it all. I 100% cannot do it all. There might be 150 great restaurants in Paris. I'm only there for 3 days. I can only have dinner 3 times. I've only got, maybe 30 waking hours or something like that to spend on seeing the sights. I can't see it all. So I need to explore the different opportunities, the different restaurants, the different, museums or anything that I could go to. And I need to make a decision on what is essential to achieve my goal of having a great trip and what is not essential, period. And the same goes with everything. Trying to get a promotion, trying to get a new client in your business, trying to lose weight, trying to learn a skill. Even in the skill of something like presenting. There are 50 different things you could do. If I've got a presentation on next week, should I work on my vocal variety? I'm not smiling enough. Should I be more confident? Should I analyze my slide deck? How do I remember what to say? Should I buy a teleprompter? And next thing you know, you're going down this rabbit hole of researching online teleprompters and brands and which different things and the speeds and all that. But it's not the essential thing. That leads us to the third part of the book, which is called eliminate. Eliminate. So essence, which is the definition, explore all the things you could do. And this is where I feel the rubber really hits the road. Eliminate all the things that are unnecessary. Unnecessary. Most of the things that you're doing in your business, in your life, or whatever the goal, they are not necessary. And because we only have limited time, the question does not become, how am I going to do this all? The question becomes, what is my highest priority? Once again, we keep eliminating things, just keep or pretending that you're eliminating things, and think to yourself, if I eliminated this thing, if I just didn't do it, could I not do it and still have my goal? I'll use the example of a presentation. If I didn't change the font, would I still be able to have a good presentation despite not having this awesome font? If the answer is yes, it's not essential. If I didn't have my script down pat word for word, would I still be able to have my presentation and then sell this program or whatever my end goal? If the answer is yes, then it is not essential. If I did this presentation, but I didn't do it confidently, would I still get my goal? If you're not confident, people buy you. If you've heard me say that before, you probably wouldn't get your goal. So I think confidence is one of the essentials you have to have in order to do that presentation. So we start eliminating things because you can't do it all. For those people who really want to do it all and then they're scared to lose, but I've got this great idea, that's okay. You've got all these great ideas that you've explored, but a non-essentialist thinks that they're all important. An essentialist just focuses on the vital few versus the trivial many. I'll say that again. The vital few versus the trivial many. Once we start focusing on what really moves the needle forward, you can start to get results at triple the speed of others, have way more success, and like the book shows us, go from this jumbled mess here to this. This is what most people's brains look like. So many things going around. I should do this, I should do that, versus just focusing on a few key things. One of the examples I like to use is Samsung as a company, I feel, is more like this, doing everything, making literally 30 different models of mobile phones, washing machines, fridges, TVs. Did you know Samsung make toilets as well? Toilets, just all these different things. And then you've got Apple, which is a lot more clearer. It's a lot more like this. Just doing fewer things, but better, because they're focused on the things that really move the needle forward, and they're putting time, energy, and money, which is the only three resources we have, putting that effort into making something great. And financially, they're better off as well. So Apple has roughly 3 times the market capitalization of someone like Samsung. 3 times with far fewer products. You could probably count all of their major products on your hand. There's not that many actually different types of products. They're not making washing machines and stuff like that. So if you think in your business, doesn't matter what your goal is, if it's preparing for a presentation, marketing in your business, your entire life, what are some of the things you could completely delete? Because I can guarantee you, if you've got 50 things on your task list, you don't have time to do them all. You shouldn't do them. Don't put that pressure on yourself to do them all. So you don't have time to do them all, which means out of those 50 ideas, there are a few that are the best. There are a few killer ideas, and there are some that are average, there are some that are good. But a lot of the times, the enemy of great is good, because you do the good things thinking you'll have time to do the great things. Just you don't have time to do it all. Just like the analogy of being in Paris. You don't go and eat at that restaurant, which is mediocre, because don't worry, I've got time to... In life, everything is finite. We can only be in one place at one time right now. So don't fool yourself into thinking, that's okay, I ate at McDonald's while I was in Paris. I'll have time to eat at... You don't have time if you've got limited time. Everyone's life and everyone's business is the exact same way. So think about all of the goals that you've got to do. Even in terms of goals, which ones are going to make the biggest impact in your life? Once you've got that goal, what are all the things you could do in that goal? Some things aren't essential. If I'm trying to learn a skill like public speaking, not all of those things are essential. So you don't have to stress yourself out doing all of those things. But what we do is we explore all of our different options, all the ideas we have. We eliminate the ones that are not essential. And then part 4 of the book is execute. We start executing those things. He talks about, the author Greg McKeown talks about the slowest hiker, meaning that if we're going up a mountain and there's 50 hikers, what is the hiker that's the slowest slowing us down? And why is that? In our life, we can think about it in terms of bottlenecks. So I like to think of this concept of bottlenecks. So success, a lot of times, it's not necessarily about putting our foot on the accelerator, but also removing the brake. So I might ask myself, not just a question, how can I get to this goal faster? That's accelerator thinking. Also, equally as important is releasing that brake. So the question I have is, why am I not there yet? There's something slowing me down. And whatever that is slowing me down, out of all those things that are slowing me down, let's focus on the biggest thing slowing me down. Like if I'm trying to have more clients in my business and double my business, why don't I have 20 clients instead of 10? What's the bottleneck? The bottleneck isn't my time. The bottleneck isn't I don't have a virtual assistant. The bottleneck could be I don't meet new people. I've got no way in my business to meet brand new people. But the product is good. Once I talk to them, it's good. It's just that's the biggest bottleneck of why I don't have 20 clients. So within that, why I don't have 20 clients instead of 10, as an example, what are the best ways I could meet new clients? I could start a podcast, I could do a Facebook ad, I could do a meetup, all these different things. All right, that's great. I'm not going to do all of those things. I've got many ideas that I've explored. Which is the best idea? I'm going to focus all of my attention just on that. So in doing this, we are so far ahead of the game from what most people do, running around crazy, thinking they should do it all, they can do it all. They are what we call, and he mentioned it in this book, majoring in the minors. They're majoring in minor activities. They're busy being busy. There's a whole bunch of action, but not much traction. They don't go anywhere. So please don't mistake productivity for progress. Just because you're being productive, you could be productive and you're not wasting a minute of the day, but you're doing it in the complete wrong direction. And I see this time and time again in people's business. So the question to ask yourself is, what is the most important thing I can do today? What's the most important thing I can do today? What's my highest priority? That's essentially what it is. So we're supposed to be doing less but better, just like Steve Jobs. We can commit to something when we're trying to execute our ideas, and we can go big on just 1 or 2 big ideas. That's it. It reminds me of the time that Steve Jobs overtook Apple as the boss for the second time because he got kicked out of his own company. He came in and there were so many projects that Apple was doing. They were losing money. And Steve Jobs did a town hall meeting and said, hey, we can't say yes to everything. In essence, our success will come from what we say no to. And then someone in the audience said, hey, what about Apple Notes? Or there was some project. And then Steve replied with, what about Apple Notes? Like, that is a good idea, but it's not an amazing idea. In order to do amazing things and go big on this thing called the iPhone, we have to let go of some of those other things. We can't do Apple Notes and this as well as make a great phone. So we pick our 1 or 2 amazing ideas or 1 or 2 skills or things that would really make the most difference, that are essential to having an amazing goal or be achieved. And we commit and we go big on those things. And everything else gets parked. That's it. So in summary, part 1 of the book, Essence. What is the essence of essentialism? It is majoring not in the minors, but an essentialist thinks only a couple of things are essential to achieve your goal. A non-essentialist thinks everything is essential. We explore all of the different ideas that we've got and we just focus on the best one. Then we eliminate everything else, even within that goal of doing a great presentation. We eliminate everything else that's not essential. And you know that it's essential or not if you can delete it and still get a great outcome, it's not essential. So therefore, it's going to be better with your finite resources of time, energy, and money to double down and focus on the essential things. I would rather you become even more confident in a presentation than now spend your additional time fixing the font or adding music or mucking around with transitions. Oh, do I want the wheelbarrow transition or the slide transition? Like, we've all kind of done that before, and it's not the best use of our time. And then last, part 4 of the book is execute. So executing just and protecting your boundaries on just the things that move the needle forward. If people are finding it difficult to remember the last 3 steps, explore, eliminate, execute. I've talked about, and you may have heard me talk about before, this concept of GPS. GPS. If you're lost in life, if you're lost in your day, if you're lost about the best path forward, the G stands for gather. Gather all of the ideas that you've got. So let's say I've got 3 hours today to do some work. I want to be the most productive and effective I can in this 3 hours. Gather all of the things we could. The P in GPS stands for prioritize or pick. Pick out the most important one thing. Or if you've got time for 3 things, pick out the most important 3 things. And the S stands for start. Or if you have to do it a bit later, schedule. I think that's just a little bit easier way to remember GPS, because the acronym, if you're lost, you need a GPS, as opposed to explore, eliminate, and execute. But essentially meaning the exact same thing. So that is the book in a nutshell. You do not have to go out and buy it, but if you're interested in it, you can. By the way, I didn't even read the physical version of this book because I use Amazon Kindle. It's just a lot more effective and cheaper. But if you put this into practice, there's just so much less stress and less pressure on yourself. And also you can achieve things in any area of your life, be it a presentation, marketing, business, or life in general, a lot quicker. Because I'll leave you with this one final thought. What is your goal of life? What is your goal in life? What is your life's purpose, so to speak? Because if we take this concept and we expand it out massively to encapsulate your entire life, what is the goal of life? If your goal is to connect with others or to be of service or to maximize life or to enjoy playing the game of life, okay, that's great. What are the essential things in order to achieve that goal by the time you leave this planet? The must-have things. And you know if they're essentials, critical must-have, because you can delete all the other things and then you would still feel, you know what, I thought that maybe I had to, I don't know, find a bigger house or something in order to achieve my goal. But now I can see if I delete that, that's not essential. So I should focus first and foremost on the essential things, like traveling was essential. I really wanted to see the world and I have to visit Antarctica or something. That's essential to me to have a great life. But having the big house isn't. Then you could focus on that. But a lot of people haven't put the time in to figure out what's essential and what's not. And they just put the pressure on themselves to do it all.